My friend and I started our day off strong, leaving our hotel in Roppongi at almost exactly 8 a.m. To us, that still very much felt like 7 p.m. back home in Canada, and on top of that, I had a horrible first sleep. My jitters and jet lag got the best of me, and I basically laid awake in bed, staring at the ceiling the whole night. And if you don't believe me, here's a picture I took of it at 3:49 a.m. Once the long night was finally over though, there was just way too much to look forward to remember I was tired. We were meeting my Japanese friend from university above Asakusa Station at 10 a.m. So we figured out what train station we needed to go to get us there and stopped at a Starbucks along the way. This was not the really pretty one we'd seen the night before, but we were still really excited to compare Canadian and Japanese Starbucks. My friend had an iced yuzu drink and I had some sort of hot tea latte. Why I got a hot drink I'll never know, because I was already hot enough to melt away in the September heat. We also stopped at a 7-Eleven to grab some breakfast. We loved exploring all the things we could choose to eat. Even though we couldn't read anything, most of it was obvious enough, or we just used Google Lens on our phones to get a rough idea of what things were. I had a fruit sando filled with kiwi and oranges, as well as a baggie of apple chunks and an orange juice box. I know my friend got an onigiri and an apple juice along with other things I can't remember. We were both extremely pleased by the quality and taste of everything we had. 10 out of 10 first 7-Eleven experience. We rode the train to Asakusa Station, and when we got up on the street, we saw the Asahi Group head office building not too far away. It has that big flame on top of it. Once my friend, who we'll call Nana, and her sister met up with us, they toured us around Tokyo for the rest of the day. First, we walked to Senso-Ji Shrine. The shops lining the pathway to the main shrine were amazing. I tried my first taiyaki and practiced washing my hands before entering the shrine. I was so grateful to have Nana and her sister with us to show us what to do all day long. We were able to wash up the right way thanks to them. On the way out, I also bought myself a strawberry tanghulu and a bottle of Pocari Sweat from a vending machine. Pocari Sweat is the drink of champions. It hits so hard out in that heat, cold and fresh, straight from the machine. I must have had at least one every day of the trip. It's Gatorade, but way better, and if you can try one, I highly recommend you do. We then rode the train again to go shopping at the 12-story Uniqlo in Ginza. Up on one of the highest floors, you can create your own designs to print onto t-shirts. They had various display shirts showing examples of what you could do, and I fell in love with one that had different Tokyo metro trains on it. We didn't have time to design anything, but I loved it so much that Nana went over and asked a worker if I could just buy the display shirt, and she said yes. To this day, it is my most favorite shirt and I wear it proudly, especially since I successfully navigated us through the Japanese train system throughout the entire trip, and without a single mistake, I might add. My friend was going crazy over a collab Uniqlo was doing with KAWS at the time, and she bought 2 of the shirts from their line. We then had lunch in a lovely restaurant called Salon Ginza Sabo. Then we went to Meiji Shrine. While Senso-Ji was smack in the middle of the city and very loud, Meiji Shrine was surrounded by forest and it was so peaceful. I was geeking out over the cicadas I could hear buzzing in the trees around us, because as someone who has watched many an anime, I had heard cicada sounds many times before in shows. It was genuinely a dream of mine to hear them in person, and I'm telling you that I almost cried on the spot.
Can you hear it? Can you hear the cicada? Cicada! Japanese cicada!
We had to walk quite a long ways on a gravel path in the woods just to get to Meiji Shrine, but it was so worth it. The courtyard had these 2 perfectly symmetrical trees that I was marveling at for a really long time. After Meiji Shrine, we walked to an IKEA outlet in Harajuku for a snack and some air conditioning. I obviously really enjoyed using the Tokyo train system, but I have to say, walking around was a lot of fun too. It was so cool just to watch the different kinds of cars that would drive by and listen to the strange sounds. Everything was so foreign and fascinating, and I tried to drink it all in as much as I possibly could. IKEA had a Halloween line of food items, so I tried a bumbleberry pie that was colored black with charcoal. It was so distinct. I will honestly remember it forever. When we first got there and found a table in the cafeteria to sit at, I offered to stay behind and watch the bags while everyone else went to order their food. This has always been standard practice for my friend and I, just in case a no-gooder came along wanting some free stuff. But Nana and her sister looked at me with confusion, and then Nana, having been to Canada and realizing where I was coming from, came up to me, patted me on the shoulder, and said, "We don't have to do that here," and gently pulled me away from the table and our stuff to order my food too. It felt so wrong to leave our stuff unattended, but I had heard and forgotten that in Japan, people truly just trust that no one is going to take their belongings in situations like that. And the honor system is strong over there. I had never felt so safe in a public setting in all my life as I did in Japan. After our snack, we popped over to Takeshita Street to browse the shops. A lot of them were very cutesy, and there was a ton of Sanrio. I bought a hoodie that says Japan on it, and we did a fun photo booth that photoshopped our eyes to look humongous. By the time we left Takeshita Street, it was 7 p.m. and dark out, but we were far from done with our day. We jumped back on the train and rode it to Shibuya Station to see the Hachiko statue and walk through Shibuya Scramble Crossing. The scramble was exactly what it sounds like, but I think we walked it a few times because of how cool my friend and I thought it was. And I'm really glad we saw it at night. I don't know if that was intentional on Nana's part, but I definitely loved looking up at all the lights glowing around me. Although it was open at the time, the Starbucks on the corner of Shibuya Crossing is now indefinitely closed. I had gone in to look at the cups because it was my goal to try and find one from the Peanuts collab they'd done with Starbucks in Japan over the summer. But I knew the pickings would be very slim by September. Even still, I looked in every Starbucks we passed for the whole trip. I didn't find any in Shibuya, but they did have a really cool orange Shibuya bottle specific to that location. I sort of regret not buying it, if only because that location is closed now. RIP Shibuya Crossing Starbucks and your cool bottle. You will both forever be in my heart, and may you open again. Our last stop of the day was a conveyor belt sushi restaurant called Kura Sushi Shibuya Ekimae. By that point in our day, I was so low on sleep and willpower that all I could stomach was one plate of very basic cucumber rolls. How lame is that? I promise I'll do better next time I go to Japan, because there will be a next time, and my love for sushi has really blossomed since that trip, unfortunately. I'll also be sure to go when I'm not so messed up from the time change. After dinner, we said goodbye to Nana's sister, and Nana took my friend and I back to Roppongi. We got back to our hotel around 10:30 p.m. I gave Nana some gifts I had brought her from Canada. Nana loves butter tarts, so I bought her an entire Costco pack of them to hopefully last her a few weeks or share with friends. I also bought her a charm bracelet with airplanes and maple leaves on it to commemorate her time in Canada, as well as a package of maple cream cookies. I miss Nana so much, and I told her that it's her turn to come to Canada again so we can keep going back and forth for the rest of our lives. We seriously couldn't have asked for a better first day in Japan. We saw and learned so much, all while being guided by not only locals but friends. My friend and I probably wouldn't have ended up checking out all the things that we did thanks to Nana's knowledge of the area. With our suitcases already much heavier than when we came over, my friend and I hit the hay to rest up for day 2, so stay tuned for that and have a good one.